Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Modern Philosophy Podcast. I am your host, Ashlee Haze, and this episode is about authenticity. Y'all heard my saga with dealing with an emotional scam, and I, of course, now want to talk about healthy ways to move forward and to interact in my relationships going forward. So there's a quote by Rumi that says, "The wound is the place where the light enters you." And I was definitely traumatized by this fiasco, and I was looking for the light. I was looking for the tool that I could take with me going forward. And I was really sitting with the issue and examining myself. And the word that came to me was authenticity. I told y'all in the last episode that I was ignoring what I really wanted. And when we do that, what we're doing is creating a war within ourselves. Every time our actions don't reflect our values, we are, in essence, being fake. And I genuinely believe that authenticity is the antidote to scamming. The one thing that a scammer refuses to do is be themselves. But when you are yourself, it makes it so that people who don't truly like you don't stick around long, or you make them extremely uncomfortable. Part of that Part of what I was battling in that relationship was a fear of rejection and a fear of abandonment. I talked about this in an earlier episode called How to Take an L and the Science of Rejection. When we fear rejection, we fear the emotions we will feel if we are rejected. I didn't want the grief of another failed relationship. I didn't want the loneliness. And because of that, I was hiding parts of myself. I was responding to what I thought was his authentic self. But the truth is, I didn't really like him. I didn't even like who he pretended to be. I wish I could go back and really be myself. I wish I'd stood up for what I didn't like and showed the parts of myself I hid. It likely would have saved me a lot of energy. It's the performance that gets draining. It started to feel heavy to pretend to be okay with stinginess. It started to be okay to pretend to be okay with a few hours a week that aren't even quality time. It was the performance, though, that was keeping him here. And so then when I began to get in alignment with who I am and what I really wanted, he dipped. And I was just prolonging the inevitable rejection and abandonment. I was avoiding the grief. And I had to remember the universal truth that not everyone is willing or able to give us what we want and need, and certainly not all the time. So my recommendation is, instead of waiting on romantic love to save us or give us all we need, instead of waiting for someone to be ready or willing, work on building a community where you can be yourself and be valued. Get a village that engages in reciprocity. I was so busy looking at my losses and not looking at my wins and what I had. I have great people in my life, and to be authentic is to also be content, to know what you know, to have what you have, and to choose to walk in your truth. I was really out of alignment because the real me is a giver, and I feel safe giving to givers. The real me is weird and quirky, and I wasn't okay being that. The real me is a debater and loves long conversations, and I told her not to talk so much. Now, going forward, I need that space to be liberated. I need to be able to be whole in my authentic self. And funny enough, I downloaded the Chani Nicholas app, and this was the affirmation of the week for my sign. I am more concerned with the truth than getting what I want. Being honest with myself is the antidote to being in situations that aren't made for me. Amen, and Ashe to that. So from now on, it's going to be me and all me. And if you don't rock with it, bounce. So if y'all will allow me, if y'all would allow me, I'm going to reintroduce myself. I've been performing this poem for the past few years, and it's constantly evolving. That's what I love about it. This piece is called Autobiography. My name is Kira. My favorite color is purple, and I watch way too much Netflix. I believe in wearing leggings as pants, and almost everything I eat ends up somewhere on my clothes most days. I'm too lazy to actually fold my clothes, so I let them sit in the basket the majority of the week. I don't watch much sports. But I still don't forgive the Atlanta Falcons for blowing a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl. I exercise 3 days a week. And I'm still not comfortable saying that without people looking at me like the liar I used to be. I used to be a liar. Used to tell myself all the things that I would do on Monday, next month, New Year's Day. But now I believe in today's. I don't understand grape flavored things because, quite frankly, they never taste like grapes. I think Coke canceling the Sprite remix is one of the biggest tragedies of this generation. My father died when I was 22 years old. I have finally forgiven God for that. I have survived the type of heartbreak that makes monsters out of men, yet I choose softness. I choose healing. I choose love. I choose to open my heart again. I have learned to care less about what people think and learn to walk in my own truth, and that's the most gangster shit I'll ever do. My grandmother was the candy lady, and that feels like a superpower to me. I am the child of promises and prayers. I am the tender fruit of southern soil. A man made a mess out of me that he couldn't clean up. Then Black women and queer folks stepped up to help me finish the job. And if that ain't a metaphor, this ain't a poem about courage. A poem about a girl who could have clocked out but didn't. A poem about how life knocked the wind out of me and my village showed up to nurse me back to health. A poem about how much I have loved and lost and got the nerve to still be standing. Damn it, I'm magic. I'm also human and flawed. I've let pain do the talking where love should have. And I'm still forgiving myself for that. I am the person who skips over a song every time but refuses to take it off the playlist. I've traveled the world in search of beauty and I have found it in abundance. I've learned to forgive, but not at the expense of my own trust. I've learned to rest and when to mind. I'm still learning what I can and can't control. That lesson is going to take some time. I've learned to do difficult things, like risk not being loved in return. How to heal, how to grieve, how to find joy, how to be uncomfortable, how to hold myself on nights when the moon and the house are quiet. People ask me what I do for a living, and I say I am a storyteller. And the one that has become my favorite to tell so far is my own. Thank y'all so much for allowing me the space to figure this out. The slogan for the podcast is together we're learning better, doing better, being better. And I mean that wholeheartedly. I mean that I get better every episode. I get better every lesson learned. And so I hope that it makes y'all's lives better. And as the poem stated, my name is Kira. Ashlee Haze is a name I came up with in a collaboration with my mom when I was 14 years old. I was looking for a stage name and I wanted to use Purple Haze because I was into Jimi Hendrix in the Woodstock era, as you know, a lot of 14-year-olds are. But my dad was not having it. So my mom gave me the gift of compromising with my middle name, Ashlee Haze. And so now I'm moving forward with the first name that she gave me, Kira. My name is Kira Ashlee. And you all, I don't expect this to change overnight or even at all. Y'all can still call me Ashley. You can still call me Hayes. Still call me Ashlee Haze. You'll likely still see Ashlee Haze credited on platforms. But I'm just as comfortable being called Kira now. So if you rock with me, we homies call me Kira. I'm comfortable being my whole self. So the song of the week is Girl with a Tattoo interlude by Miguel. Thank you all so much for tuning in to the Modern Philosophy Podcast, where together we are learning better, doing better, and being better. Remember, hydrate, moisturize, mind your business, and wash your hands. And I'll see y'all next time.